Welcome everybody to a brand new video. Today I am going to be making a follow-up to my last video about skill-based matchmaking because there are some more points that I feel need to be addressed now that this is kind of blown up in the community even more so than it was before. Some people's opinions were put out publicly and I want to give my take on some of the things that were being said and some of the changes in my own opinion since my last video. Now, first of all, before we get into that, I want to thank you guys for leaving so much support on my last video. My last video kind of blew up a little bit for my channel, and I know it's not going to last forever. I know that it's kind of short-lived and stuff, but my last video kind of blew up for my channel, so to everybody who is new, to everybody who subscribed, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you, and I hope you guys stick around. If not, thank you for checking out my channel anyway. But anyway, let's hop into the main topic of this video. Skill-based matchmaking. I already gave you guys my opinions about skill-based matchmaking and how to exploit it in my last video. If you guys didn't see that, I will leave a link in the description. Make sure you click it and check it out because a lot of people did sort of agree with me and understood where I was coming from. But you guys clicked on this video for a reason. I probably titled it something to do with FaZe Kitty. That's because I wanted to get people's attention first of all to click this video and then hear my points in regards to the sort of debate that I had with him on Twitter. And before we hop into anything, again, I just want to say I am not taking shots at FaZe Kitty whatsoever. I think FaZe Kitty is a fantastic player. I think he's one of the best Call of Duty snipers of all time. Fantastic YouTuber, great guy. I have all the love and respect for him in the world. Absolutely no shade whatsoever to him. Just because we don't see eye to eye on the same thing and we have differing opinions does not mean that I am taking shots at this guy and then I'm trying to start some shit with him. That's not it whatsoever. But I am going to tackle some of the arguments that he made on Twitter and sort of challenge them a little bit. So let's hop straight into it. First of all, where did I get the inspiration for this video? It all started with FaZe Kitty, who made a tweet that said, "I get it, the game is in a rough state right now, but if you're reverse boosting for clips, you are dog shit." And of course, as I stated in my last video, I was very open with you guys and I said, I am reverse boosting. I'm going to be doing that to hit clips. I'm going to be doing that to get gameplays. I was very open to you guys about it. I didn't want to hide it. And so because I saw this tweet around the same time that I had uploaded that video, I decided to reply to it and say, your opinion, I'm still going to reverse boost. Call me dog shit all you want, but at the end of the day, I'm trying to have fun. Sorry I don't live up to your standard, but standards are what ruined COD in the first place. And I did end up getting a reply to FaZe Kitty saying, it ain't about lining up to standards. It's the fact once people start doing it, the absolutely fucked clips become normal clips because of how easy they become to hit. Use your brain, man. And while I do understand what he's saying, and I will give him credit, I do understand his argument. If everybody reverse boosts and starts hitting clips, then the clips hit in regular lobbies, normal skill-based matchmaking lobbies, if you're coming up against people of your own skill, those clips aren't going to be as valuable. Say, for example, if someone hits, I don't know, a 5 on-screen all headshots in a reverse boosted lobby, that will be considered more valuable than just a normal 5 on screen in a really difficult skill-based matchmaking lobby. I completely agree with FaZe Kitty on this point. Absolutely. This is going to make it so that normal clips aren't as impressive as the quote-unquote reverse boosted clips, and people can maybe separate the two and say, oh, you know, you're reverse boosted in this lobby, so it's not going to be as good of a clip, but unfortunately not everybody's going to think like that. So I do understand his argument, and I replied to him and I said, look, all respect to you in the world, you worked hard to get where you are, but I'm not playing the game the same way. I understand what you're saying, but I would appreciate if you heard me out too. And then I referred to my most recent video if you wanted to understand my argument. I wasn't trying to like self-advertise or anything like that, but just so he could sort of get a grasp on what I was coming forward with my argument. I don't know if he checked out the video. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but it doesn't matter anyway. And so I went back to FaZe Kitty's tweet and I gave it a little bit more thought. And then I came across somebody else's tweet. I came across someone on Twitter called Sith Roy, or @OceanManGod, and he made a tweet of a video which I am going to leave at the end of this video because I don't want to just jam it here right here in the middle. He uploaded a video basically demonstrating how if you reverse boost, you can hit absolutely insane clips that are just fucked, out of this world, not possible in normal lobbies, or if they are possible, it would take an immense amount of grinding for you to get lucky enough to hit some of the clips that he showed in that video. As I said, I'm gonna have it at the end of this one. He demonstrates that by reverse boosting, you can do things in this game that you would not be able to do in regular lobbies, and I thought that was really interesting. And before I continue this video, I want to mention something that I didn't mention in my last video. I do not think reverse boosting is a good thing. Just because I am reverse boosting, just because I am encouraging it at the moment with the community, I do not think it is the ideal way to play this game. I do not think it is a good thing that we have to be forced to reverse boost to play this game and to enjoy it. Just because I am encouraging it and I am doing it personally does not mean that I agree with reverse boosting. And you might think that that sounds absolutely ridiculous based on my stance and my opinion on skill-based matchmaking, but I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit later in this video. Something else I want to bring up is a fantastic comment that was left on my last video, and I felt like I had to give this guy a shout out. There was somebody named Sunny D who left a comment on my video, and then he replied to his own comment, and I found it very interesting what he said. He said that I find it funny that Ground War doesn't have skill-based matchmaking yet. I'm not seeing any disabled people completely incapable of doing nothing at all. I really don't think the game is going to suddenly be unplayable for new players if they remove skill-based matchmaking, but they definitely need to do something about it because right now it's probably worse for them with how easily abusable it is. If they insist on keeping it in the game, then either make a ranked playlist for it or nerf its implementation significantly so the brackets are much wider so we don't get these constant extremes of brain-dead bot players or seemingly top 100 ranked players. And I just had to pin this man's comment. This was a fantastic comment and I fully agree with it. The general consensus is that in Ground War there probably isn't skill-based matchmaking because then the search times would be absolutely insane with how many players there are in those game modes. They simply could not pair so many people up based on skill. That's why even myself, before even getting into the whole skill-based matchmaking debate, I noticed that Ground War seems to be a lot more fun than any other game mode because you don't get constant amazing players that you come up against. You get a variety of players. You get bad players, good games, bad games, etc. But the main thing I want to highlight about this comment, and it relates to the argument I'm going to make towards FaZe Kitty and Sith Roy on Twitter. The one thing I want to highlight is the part where he says they definitely need to do something about it because right now it's probably worse for them with how easily abusable it is. This is exactly the point I want to harp on. To FaZe Kitty, and again, I'm not sending shots, but I do want to debate you and challenge you on your stance. Yes, reverse boosting is wrong, and I don't think it should be a necessity to enjoy the game and to hit clips, and I completely agree with you that it takes away from legitimate clips. People who are not reverse boosting are now going to be seen as lesser players because the clips they're hitting obviously aren't as amazing in a vacuum against kids that are just really bad at the game. You are 100% right about that, but the reason I say that we should be reverse boosting, the reason I say that we should be taking advantage of this system is because we need to show the developers that it is easily abusable, that they need to do something about it. FaZe Kitty, I ask you this one thing. If nobody reverse boosted in Call of Duty Modern Warfare at the moment, do you think the system would change? Of course not. Because if nobody exploits the system, then there is no reason for them to bat an eye at it. They can just simply deal with everybody's complaints and say, oh, whatever, it doesn't matter, it's not causing us any issues on our end, so we don't have to do anything about it. The reason I am endorsing reverse boosting at the moment, and why I think everybody should do it to have a little bit more fun on the game, is because if this turns into a big enough issue, if enough people are reverse boosting, exploiting the system, showing the developers that skill-based matchmaking does not belong in public matches because of this very reason, they have an incentive to change the system. They have an incentive to remove skill-based matchmaking, or at least change it so that it is not as strict as it is right now. The argument I'm making basically relies on the term, the ends justify the means. Yes, reverse boosting is is wrong and I don't agree with it, but what other choice do we have? As a community, we need to take advantage of the system. We need to exploit it. In the process, we're having more fun with the game, and hopefully this incentivizes the developers to take a look at this. This is our biggest voice right now. Reverse boosting is the best way to get the attention of the developers and to get this system fixed. If we sit here and just accept it, nothing is going to be done about it. And I know for a fact, FaZe Kitty, I understand that you love Call of Duty, you love the sniping community, so do I. I care about this community. I've been with it for a while, not as much as you, but I care about it. But we need to do things that are going to benefit the future of this community, and sitting back and telling people not to reverse boost and just accept the system for what it is not going to change anything. What will change the way the developers look at skill-based matchmaking is if we abuse it to the point where they have no choice but to do something about it. After I replied to FaZe Kitty with my tweet, I got a reply from someone else saying, "Great to see you rebelling against skill-based matchmaking, keep up the great work." And I replied to them saying, that is part of it, to be fair. I don't want to sound like a knight in shining armor, absolutely not, which is true. I don't want to sit here and act like I'm some fucking crusader or something. I'm standing up for the Call of Duty community, and I'm leading this army to fight against the developers. I'm not trying to seem like a fucking god or something. But for them to do something about it, then we need to call them out on the BS and exploit it. If skill-based matchmaking didn't exist, I would just play normally, and that is exactly what I'm trying to get at in this video. If skill-based matchmaking didn't exist in the game, or it wasn't as strong as it is right now, I wouldn't have an incentive to reverse boost. If you want to fix the problem, which FaZe Kitty, I think we can both agree that you don't want people to reverse boost based off of your original tweet. The way we stop people from reverse boosting is getting rid of skill-based matchmaking. It's an easy way to fix this. It basically makes the entire community happy, and it will keep you happy along with the sniping community as well, because then we will know people cannot reverse boost for clips. They have no choice but to play in random lobbies where they're going to get bad players, they're going to get good players, and everybody is going to be on an even playing field. In case you couldn't tell, I'm trying to find a middle ground with this. Of course, I think skill-based matchmaking is bad. I'm sure you do too, and you're taking the approach that you should just take whatever system is thrown at you, or at least that's how I interpret it, and just roll with it and, you know, quote-unquote adapt. I know a lot of people are using that word in the wrong way, but that's the approach I see you using. I see you saying that, you know, the game is in a rough state, but you should just deal with it. I say fuck that. We shouldn't deal with it. We should push back against this. We should do whatever we can to make sure the developers hear us and do something about it. The final point I want to make before I leave you guys with Sith Roy's video is something that he brings up in his Twitter clip. He makes the argument in the video that reverse boosting is possible, the system is exploitable, and he also wanted to show people how to expose people who are reverse boosting for clips. And while I think that's a great thing, obviously if people are trying to hit clips in reverse boosted lobbies without being transparent about it, I think these people should be exposed and the community should know about it. However, unfortunately, it is a lot more complicated than that. Unfortunately, there are ways to hide reverse boosting in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and I don't think he harped on these in the video. And unfortunately, I don't think there is a way to expose absolutely everybody who is reverse boosting for clips. One thing he mentions in this video is that people are creating new accounts so that they could get into easier lobbies. So in the top right corner, whenever somebody gets a kill, you can see what level they are. If they are below level 20, or if they're a really low level, this basically proves that they're hitting clips in reverse boosted lobbies and they're going up against people who are nowhere near their skill bracket, and basically it just makes it really easy for them to hit clips. And I think that's a solid way to expose people, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to fix it. There are ways around that as well. For example, what about the people who don't make a new account, but instead decide to blow themselves up with C4 over and over again to make their last 5 games seem really bad, trick the system, and get into easy lobbies? This basically makes it so that you don't have to make a new account. You can sit on your level 155 account and hit clips, and in the top right corner, you're not going to see a low level, which basically disguises it as a legitimate clip. And a lot of people will make another argument to show how you can expose people who are doing this, and I'm ahead of you already. People will say, what about suicides? The Call of Duty app will show how many suicides you have on your profile. If you have a high number of suicides, this shows that you are reverse boosting and you're getting into easy lobbies. There is another way to counteract it, and it's what I've been doing. Simply feeding the enemy kills. This does not count as a suicide in the game. This is the perfect way for anybody who is trying to get away with this reverse boosting tactic to hit clips. This is the perfect way for them to get into easy lobbies without making it very easy for them to get exposed. They could simply just hop into a TDM game and run at the enemy over and over again, accumulating 25, 30 deaths with 0 kills. And as a result, they get their quote-unquote suicide deaths without having to actually kill themselves and without exposing themselves on the Call of Duty app. So the way people disguise themselves is they don't create a new account. Instead, they hop into TDM where they can end the games very quickly by just feeding the enemy kills. They do that for 5 games. And there you go, they're disguised. In my opinion, there is very little you can do to expose these types of players. Unfortunately, that's how the system is. And the reason I love Sith Roy's video is because ultimately, what do we get from all of this? Everything that I just mentioned right now about how to exploit the system, how to not get exposed, how to hide the fact that you're reverse boosting. How do we solve this? It's easy. The answer has been there all along. Remove skill-based matchmaking. That's all you need to do. Every single issue I have brought up in this video, every single issue that has been responded to me through FaZe Kitty, the Sith Roy video, the comments on my video, my last one, all of it is fixable by simply removing skill-based matchmaking. I don't think the answer is any more clear. It's very obvious what we need to do as a community. We need to fight back. I want everybody to reverse boost so that the developers have no choice but to do something about the system. That is everything I've had to say in response to my last video. Take this as a part 2, but I'm going to wrap this video up by leaving you guys with the video that Sith Roy posted on Twitter. I think it's a fantastic video, and after that, the video will be over. I'm going to transition into that, but I'm going to wrap this video up here first. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you smack the like button. If you want to stay up to date with my content, please be sure to subscribe. I'll have my last video in the corner. If you haven't checked that out already, definitely make sure to check it out. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.
Before I start this off, I just want to say that this is in no way me calling anybody out. I just want to bring this to light so people know what is possible. So over the past few weeks of Modern Warfare, I've noticed people are making new accounts to hit clips, because I assumed it helped with skill-based matchmaking, so last night I thought I'd give it a try. Everything you see on screen right now, including an all-pro ending 6 on to 5 on head, were hit within about 5 hours of doing it. I found out it isn't as simple as just making new accounts, and I'm not going to get too much into detail, but if you reverse boost for a couple of games in a certain way, it makes it easier than I could have ever imagined. I was just not going to use the clips and move on with my day, but I felt like this should be made public for the sake of not leaving people in the dark. I spent around 5 to 6 hours hitting clips that are either not possible or would take everyone else tons of grinding. Let this go to show why skill-based matchmaking isn't a good thing. It divides the player base, makes the game less fun, and it allows for things like this to be exploited. Regardless of that, I just want to point out to you guys that this is something that's possible and people are doing. And it's very easy to tell when it's happening if you know what you're looking for. Pay attention to the top right of the screen, where the titles pop up to see what level they are. Most people are oblivious leveled up and won't be under level 20, which is where the cutoff point roughly is for this exploit. And on top of that, some people are also doing a glitch to have their classes from their fully leveled up accounts to a fresh new account. This includes guns and stuff that are locked on that account, so pay attention to the class they hit the clip with. Hope you guys understand how much this could be taken advantage of, and again, why skill-based matchmaking was a bad idea to incorporate into this game. If you guys care about hitting clips, or even content in general, maybe tag the developers in this tweet so they could see that their system doesn't work and can be manipulated. I really enjoy Modern Warfare, and I just know for a fact removing skill-based matchmaking would make this game millions of times better for everyone.